of Parliament from the Samajwadi Party. A big warm welcome to you, Pushpendra, Saroj, here at the India Today Conclave. I have so many questions for you because very often when we're covering Parliament, you always see, of course, the senior most politicians there. And to be seated among them as a young voice, how is that? How does that feel?
Firstly, I would like to thank the India Today group for inviting me here. I think it's a perfect platform for people of all ends of society to come and share their vision. And thank you for having me here. And as a young politician, as you say, because clearly in our society, youth politicians are defined as someone who's even 40, 45 are called youth politicians.
60 sometimes.
Like 60 sometimes. So me being a young politician, I think it's been a very good experience as well. And sitting in Parliament amongst the most experienced individuals who've been there for maybe more than I've been on this planet as well. So learning from them and listening to their advice, it's been wonderful.
Is it intimidating?
Sometimes it is, but now I've gotten used to it.
So do you get to speak up a lot in Parliament as well? Or is it, drowned out by all of the veterans who know how things work, kind of bulldoze through your voice?
No, I think the wonderful thing about the Parliament is that when you get the chance to speak, everybody listens. That's the beauty of Parliament. The whole country listens. I mean, you really do get the opportunity to speak because there are a lot of members. But when you get the opportunity, I think the seriousness of the discussion is discussed, it's been taken upon, and I think that is the sanctity of the Parliament.
At 25, Pushpendra, as the youngest MP, I'm sure you shoulder a lot of the responsibility also of speaking for the youth because we don't have many of you in Parliament. What are the issues that are close to your heart that you believe Parliament should be discussing more about youngsters, about youth, about what they want?
I think particularly about the youth, we talk about the youth a lot. I think 65% of the population is under 35 in our country. So youth has a lot of role to play. And me being bestowed upon that responsibility to speak about the youth, to talk about them in the biggest fray, the political fray. And I think the youth kind of distance themselves from the politics. It's when they turn 35 or maybe older, that's when they want to get into politics. And sometimes they just don't want to be into politics. It's just a parallel thing going on in their life. And sometimes what happens is that they just think politics is dirty. There is no change that can happen. But I would like to just say that, as the famous quote says, that be the change that you want to see. That's why I would like to urge everybody, especially my age, because there is a legal limit of 25 that can contest elections. I think we should define how youth in politics should be in India. 25 people should get involved into politics, should speak up, discuss. And I think youth should not disengage. They should participate in politics and speak up. I think their voices are the ones that can lead the country. And I believe in the youth. I believe in the youth power because history has also shown us that when youth come to the ground, changes do happen. So, I don't know, probably it is something, I'll just give you an example. There are two societies. So, I come from a fairly privileged background as well. So, sometimes when people don't want to get into politics, they don't even know about politics at all. So, some of my friends, they don't even know who I am. So, I have to tell them that I'm a member of Parliament and they don't understand who I am.
They don't know the difference between
MLA and MP. And the easiest way is to say, do you know the Prime Minister? Do you know Mr. Gandhi? Do you know Mr. Yadav? Whatever they are, I am also that. And we sit in the same Parliament. So that's how it is. So that is something that I really believe that they should get more involved into politics. I think they have got good vision, good ideas, good, huge energy. And I think the youth should come up front and discuss politics as well.
But is it challenging? You did highlight that you're from a privileged background. So because of that, you got that golden ticket into politics. For a lot of others, it's obviously very hard. You have to battle a whole lot of challenges to even get a ticket. Everyone has to be filthy rich to be able to get a ticket. So there are challenges. Is that why you think that youngsters kind of shy away? The average age right now in Parliament is 56. And to change that, obviously, you need to open the doors for people to come in. That's challenging for any youngster out there to come and say, look, I can afford to buy a ticket as is in a political party. It's not easy.
See, I don't shy away from the fact that I come from a privileged background. My father is a politician as well. But I very sternly say this, that I contested an electoral politics. People gave me the mandate and I won by over 1 lakh votes. And I have 2 records upon my name by winning the highest margin of votes with the youngest politician in the entire country. So I don't shy away from the fact. Now, if I don't do that work and I don't live up to their expectations, they have every right to vote me out in the next elections. So I think, talking particularly about the youth, they don't even want to take that first step into politics at this very age. It is when later on, then they start going into the society, helping people out, going for tickets and asking for tickets. So if you're talking about that segment, about 25 to 35 years, people don't really want to enter politics. People want to do other things in life, try out different aspects of life. And it's understandable as well. But if you talk about me and my idea, I would really like them to step into politics at this very age.
No, 100%. I'm sure youngsters, bringing that mix into politics will make such a difference. There is a challenge, of course, as I pointed out, in getting those opportunities. But the other aspect of it is also the image, of dirty, mucky politics. Should we really get into it? A lot of youngsters you see on social media only, of course, have a word or two to condemn politicians, say, we stay away from politics. How do you change that mindset? The image is that, look, politics is corrupt. Politics is not for me. How do you change that?
See, I am now into politics, and if they look up to me, I always say when I go into campaigns and I meet new people, you should have someone to follow into politics. Party ideologies are fine, and whatever, these days politics, especially these days, the politics that is happening in our country is based on religion, caste. And when I had these discussions with the youth, they don't want to discuss religion and caste. They want to discuss issues. That's why I said that there is a lot of potential into good politics that can happen in this country that can bring about change. So you should look up to individuals. I really look up to some individuals as well in the proposition and the opposition as well. So I think that idea that needs to be changed has to come by myself first. I take that responsibility as well, how I can represent the youth and talk about the youth and be a leader of the youth, and how the youth of the country should see me that, okay, this is the man who really talks about issues, talks about change. And maybe then they follow into my example and then step into politics.
It's great that you want to be that icon who triggers that change. And you're so, openly saying that, look, youngsters should be a part of political discourse. What are the issues you think, Pushpendra, in your conversations with youngsters, they want raised in Parliament that right now parliamentarians aren't doing?
I think the biggest issue that the country is facing, especially the youngsters, is the issue of unemployment. And it's been an issue for quite some time now. I've spoken to a lot of individuals of my constituency, and I've traveled all over Uttar Pradesh as well. Even I had the chance to be in the Delhi elections and the Maharashtra elections. And I spoke to many individuals, youth particularly, and the burden of making a living right now that is bestowed upon them is bringing them down. I mean, the unemployment rate right now in this country is very huge. And this is particularly something that the idea that we were talking about, youth, why don't they don't want to step into politics, is because they want safety first. They want to make a living. They want to handle their family. And politics is not safe. Politics is not stable. So I think they want to get into a proper, stable job and make a living out of it. So right now, they don't even have that. So that is the biggest issue that youths are facing right now.
In Parliament, I'm sure you've interacted with the who's who also of the MPs. Who are the members of Parliament who you really look up to in Parliament right now?
I think there are a lot of members from very different parties. I mean, if we talk about the government as well, I've openly said it before as well. I really look up to Mr. Nitin Gadkari ji, the way he functions, the way that he is very straightforward. If there is certain work, I'll tell you an example in Parliament. We have a question hour in Parliament. It's a one-hour question hour session with the ministries. And certain times what happens is when different ministries' questions are being discussed, the Parliament gets adjourned, or there are some noises and a lot of shor sharaba happens. But I was just sitting in Mr. Nitin Gadkari ji's question hour session. Not one voice from the opposition was there to oppose him. Every question that was taken up was discussed, was handled by him, and he said one thing, that he's told all his officials that when a member of Parliament comes to meet him, you should take him very seriously because he is representing lakhs of people and he has a problem. That's why he's walked up to me with a problem, and it is our responsibility to solve that problem. So I think I really look up to him. And that question hour session was something that I could not.
That's an amazing story that you've given us. But besides that, any other MPs you look up to?
Yes, I think the leader of my party, Mr. Yadav, Mr. Akhilesh Yadav, I really look up to him because it is not easy to give a 25-year-old ticket, a Lok Sabha ticket, and believe in him. But he believed in me. He wants good, educated people in the parliament. And we've seen that we've got 3 youngsters in our party, in our very own party, who represent the Samajwadi Party in the Lok Sabha. So I call him a visionary, and he's a very kind, humble man, and he promotes youth as well. So he is someone I really look up to.
On the youth front, you're speaking about how people should know more about politics. A big part of that is social media, ensuring that people have politics, know political opinion, know what's happening in our parliament on their phones. How do you really think that, as a 25-year-old MP, I'm sure you're active on Instagram, on X, and all of that. How do you think we can kind of Gen-zify or make politics fun for youngsters?
I think social media has played a very strong role in promoting messages as well. Earlier it was
social media wars, but...
And social media wars. I mean, there is a boon and bane to everything. So we've seen earlier it was the responsibility of the media to promote messages and to send messages to all societies and whatever the politician wants to discuss. But social media has been something that has revolutionized it, and now we can directly connect with the individuals as well. So I think it is important. But in politics, it has always been said that the old-fashioned ways of connecting directly with the people, doing politics from the ground, going in, meeting people on the ground, and having that touch is the mantra, is the basic thing that you should do. And sometimes people forget that, politicians forget that. But I think that mission should never be forgotten, and that is the base of politics. Social media and everything, that is really nice to connect with the masses, but politics is done from the ground.
In Parliament, is there a code of conduct? For example, Pushpendra Saroj, the politician, dresses like a politician. As a 25-year-old, do you get to dictate terms and conditions of how you want to go to Parliament?
No, there is no code of conduct. I mean, you get to dress the way that you want to dress, and you get to be the way that you want to be. I mean, it's something that really caught up to me in Parliament was the first day that I walked in. I thought I was just a 25-year-old who walked into Parliament. But when I walked into the Parliament, everybody is equal. Everybody is treated equal.
Do the senior MPs bully you?
Oh, no. There is no. That's what I'm saying. That's the sanctity of the Parliament. Inside that building is maintained so highly that you're treated as a colleague, as someone their age. And when you speak, when you talk, when you speak in Parliament or when you're outside Parliament as well, not the session, that status remains the same, and that seriousness remains the same. I think that is something that really caught up to me.
But does it also, and I started off asking you if it intimidates you, but on your very first day, now that you mentioned it, I can't imagine what it was like to enter, Parliament, to enter the Lok Sabha, see around you all of these faces that you've known, you've seen for so many years growing up, I'm sure, if you wanted to be a politician. What did that feel like to be there? And the very first speech you gave, I'm sure you must have been incredibly nervous.
Yeah, the very first speech that I gave, I waited up until 9 p.m. to deliver my speech. And it was wonderful. And you're talking about intimidation. I was just sitting in Parliament one day, the very first session, to be honest. And it was just so surreal. And I just looked upon the Prime Minister and then the Leader of Opposition. And I was sitting right in the center. The speaker was right in front of me. And my mind just went off. And then it hit me suddenly that where I am, you just wonder to be here. So yeah, initially it was intimidating. Now it's fine. It's been a couple of sessions and it feels like a part of me.
And have you ever received words of praise from senior MPs for being a 25-year-old parliamentarian holding his own? And of course, anyone who comes to you and says, look, we need to get more like you on board.
It's been very often. It's been always that I've introduced myself to very high individuals as well. I introduced myself to many experienced individuals, many experienced MPs, ministers as well. And it's always praise that have come from them and motivation. And they really want to see young people. That's why I said that young people should step into politics, because people inside the parliament want to see young people in the parliament. And they want to see new energy, new vision, new ideas, creative ideas in the parliament. and good debates, good discussions. And especially when I delivered my speeches as well. I didn't expect senior individuals to be there at 9 p.m., but they were there to wait for my speech, to wait to listen to my speech. And when I spoke and I finished, they were there to motivate me and congratulate me as well.
And finally, one word of advice to all the 25-year-olds listening this, thinking maybe we can enter politics. What change can they make?
See, first, I would really like to tell them that their presence should be felt. It is not about disengaging, it is about participating into politics. And your voices are important, your voices should be heard. And it is for you to step up and take responsibility, accept where you are and take responsibility of where you want to go. That's what I did. I didn't imagine stepping into politics this early. But once you step into politics, then you find out that you can be the change that you want to see in the world.
Thank you so much. Pushpendra Saroj, ladies and gentlemen, the youngest MP at 25. We hope we have many more of you very soon. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for India's youngest MP, Pushpendra Saroj, while I call upon Anil Jain, President Finance, Hindustan Power, to come up on stage and present a small token of our appreciation to Mr. Saroj.